let's touch on food security. And the CEO of the buffer stock company, like I've mentioned, Abdul Wahab Hanan, is attributing the shortage of food and hikes in prices to cartels hoarding food and creating artificial shortage. But is that really the truth? Joining us, Charles Nauba. He is Executive Director, Executive Secretary for the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana. Mr. Nyaba, a very good morning to you, sir.
Good morning, sir.
It's a pleasure having you once more. Let's start off with your reaction to what the CEO of the buffer stock company says, that, well, there is no real shortage. It is just artificial. It is people taking advantage of the global crises, COVID-19, the Russo-Ukrainian war, and hiking their food prices, and by so doing, creating an artificial hike and an artificial shortage as well. What is your reality?
Okay, thank you. Say good morning to your colleagues and then the expert.
Right.
You see, we are all concerned that food prices are going high, not only food prices. Prices of almost all commodities are going high, to the extent that Ghana is rated among countries with a high cost of living the whole world. It's a matter of concern. But let me indicate that the impression created by the CEO of the National Football Company, I do not support those claims, and I don't think it is the case. We need to understand that the current food that is being sold in the market is not just only middlemen, but also farmers. What we do is that farmers do usually sell everything and keep the money in the bank. They stock some, and then during this time around, they now release them and then use it to do their production. So it's a usual thing that farmers do every year. Now, the reason why this year is cost high, and then you are also seeing it has to do with several factors, some of which are domestic and others are external factors. And I would have loved the CEO to have acknowledged that. Now, it is also worrying. It is concerned about cost of production itself that farmers are going through. Nobody's thinking about that. Producing of maize 2021 was around 1,500. Today it's around 3,700 to 4,500 per 1 acre. So the farmer who has maybe 10 bags of maize to sell will not go and sell that maize the price of 2021, because when he sells that, he won't be able to buy fertilizer and then chemicals to farm this year. So the farmer will also expect to increase the cost to be able to buy the inputs and produce this year. And I think the CEO should concern about that. Secondly, what is the mandate of National Food Buffer Stock Company? So in the first place, I would say that National Food Buffer Stock Company has failed in its mandate, because it is the responsibility of the National Food Buffer Stock Company to buy food and stock them during bumper season, and then release them when there's emergency or when there's shortage.
But you know the situation with the buffer stock company, that it's not always possible to do this as we would want it done. There are mitigating factors.
Such as what? Because I'm a farmer, I deal with several groups of farmers. I cannot talk with any authority that National Food Buffer Stock Company bought one single bag of meat during the bumper season. There are warehouses that were built by the government as part of the one district one we have. All those warehouses, they are empty. National Food Buffer Stock Company didn't buy anything. So if you think that, okay, they cannot perform this role, should we start thinking about getting an alternative? Otherwise, we are investing taxpayers' money in paying their staff salary, giving them operational money.
What would that alternative be?
Fine. Me, I'm a farmer. We have a number of our groups who are there. So usually, if you look at the other companies that we supply produce to, they engage us. We are able to aggregate this, bring them, and then sell to those companies. Okay, we do that. So if I was given a mandate, giving supply food to National Food Buffer Stock Company, the time farmers have, I should be able to do that. So if you sit down, you don't do anything, a businessman, you go and buy produce and then keep them and then sell them at this time, you cannot blame that businessman. In the first place, we need to understand that the money, it's not the same value today, especially in Ghana where our city rates keep increasing. So if somebody spends 200 things to buy maize during the bumper season, you shouldn't expect that person to sell the things for 100.
Right.
Okay. So we need to consider, yes.
Finally, Dr. Nyaba, now we've had the Agric Minister finally, concede that prices are skyrocketing. But like we've heard the CEO of the buffer stock company say, it's because there's this artificial hike in prices and artificial or hoarding that is going on. Are you saying for you, you don't see that is not reality? Hoarding is not happening, and in some cases, people are not artificially hiking their prices just to make an abnormal profit. Is that what you're saying?
It's demand and supply. If you did the basic economic theory, when the demand is higher than supply, prices will automatically go high. It is not an individual, a middleman or a farmer who is hiking the price. Because if you hike your price and nobody buys, the price will automatically come down to equilibrium point. The point that there are a lot of farmers who have maize at the moment, and they are not able to sell. They are not ready to reduce the price drastically because when they sell, they take their money. They will not be able to produce. And that's why I'm saying that these are usual things that are happening every year. It's that farmers do not sell during the bumper harvest. They only store and they sell them during the continue to produce. There are middlemen who also see the opportunity, buy and stock them and sell them at a later hour. It's a business for them. Now, and it is not only agriculture sector. We see people buying land, keep them when the flow of the land appreciates, they sell it. Even today, people are buying fuel and buying it, everything to sell it later. Okay? So in the case of agriculture, my problem is that the National Food Buffer Stock failed to play the role of stabilizing prices. Because if National Food Stock company has bought food and stock, and then this time they release it at a certain price, it's possible the market will have responded to their price. So if they fail to do that, it will be wrong for them to accuse others who are playing their role for them.
Dr. Nyaba, we are very grateful that you joined the conversation. Dr. Nyaba, President of the Peasant Farmers Association of Ghana, sharing his thoughts there. Let's now bring in Edward Karewe, who joins us on phone. He is General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. Mr. Karewe, a very good morning to you. Thank you for joining the conversation.
Yeah, good morning, sir.
What is your take? I know you followed this conversation. Briefly, in terms of whether there's an artificial shortage that is being created when it comes to the main farm produce that we use. The CEO of the buffer stock company says it's just artificial. It's because people are hoarding, hiking prices as a result.
Well, why should it be artificial? Is it today that we are now talking about lack of food in our system? We knew about this last year, that prices were up and there was this complaint. So if this year it continues and it is aggravated, why should we think that it is artificial? And then is it not also the case
is it not possible that it could be artificial? Because I've heard a number of people say that look, because of global food prices and this and that, people are also, randomly, unilaterally increasing their food prices. And once you have a market where everybody goes along, I mean, you have to buy it, you have to eat.
But the point is that no one is doing anything wrong. It's within the business, ethics to increase prices as and when. And government, so no one should be talking about there's artificial here or there. The point is that these are, and I'm so much surprised about the statement coming from the CEO of
the buffer stock
company, blaming middle men for artificially creating this thing. Meanwhile, his company is also one of the middle men companies. Because the objective of the company is to mop up foodstuff when it is cheap and release it into the market when the prices go up. That's the work of the middleman. And that is a company. It can be an individual or a company. And his company is to do that. Then his company fails to do what they are supposed to do. And he has said it all, that they don't have the money to buy the foodstuffs in huge quantities and stock it against the lean season. That is his problem. Does he expect someone to go and take a loan, come and buy the food at the harvesting time, and will not store it and sell it when the prices go up? This is normal behavior. The other question you ask is that, is it only this year that we now have middlemen carrying activities? This thing has been there. And that is the essence of business. You are part of the value chain, distribution, production, distribution. Who take the food to the consumer? It's the middleman. So it's not only this year. It has been there even before we were born, and it is there. Why is that this year it has become so acute like that? It is easy to point fingers at somebody else instead of looking at where they themselves have failed. So the buffer stock company is not living up to its objective. The individuals there may not be able to deal with it because they don't have the money. If he sits there and he doesn't have the money to say it, because he doesn't have the money to go and buy the food, certainly he can't achieve his objective. So they should not blame anybody.
So is this a failure? Is this a failure of our buffer stock? Our posturing as a country when it comes to stocking these farm products or these foodstuffs, so that we don't get to this point? Is it a failure of the person who is saying that the system is hiking prices, creating an artificial shortage? That is the CEO of the buffer stock company. Are they to blame?
It may not be. He may not be blamed personally, because I can just imagine if any of us, you, myself, or any other person is given that position, and they don't give you the resources, you can't do anything about that. No matter how laudable your ideas are, you cannot do anything because it involves money, and they will not give him the money. He has said it all, And I'm saying that it is beyond him that an economic condition has been created where people will take advantage of. The thing is that if the Planting for Food and Jobs program has been successful, we will not be in what we are today, because its objective is to produce food. And the second objective is to create jobs for both domestic and then domestic consumption and industrial use.
All right. Just to wrap with your thoughts in just about 40 seconds. We've heard from the Speaker of Parliament, the bit about the school feeding program. This is food, so I'm just bringing it into the conversation. Where we use 97 pesos to cater for the feeding of our young ones and at the basic level. And the caterers have called for 3 cedis. The Speaker has thrown the support behind them. Looking at the general cost of foodstuffs and all of that, is that a call you support?
I think the 3 cedis that they are asking for, they should be given. And we are also in contact with some.
Even in our economic context?
Economic?
Context.
Yeah, the economic context is where you want to put your money in. I mean, we all know in economics that no particular state that you have all the resources. Right. So you have to prioritize. So the economic situation will never be such a way that a future government will not have the problem of money. It is where they want to put the money. So if you have to feed these our children, and I'm telling you that if you hear from head teachers, headmasters in those schools, and if you see the type of food that is fed to these young ones, in fact, you will weep. And it's because the price is too low. So it is government must find the money and give it to them, because we are using money somewhere else. And for some of us, we are not broke. It's only about where we want to put our money. And this is priorities. So what are they going to do? If they prioritize that place, of course, they will have the money. If they don't prioritize it, if it is 50 pesos, government will not have the money.
Thank you so much, Mr. Karewe, General Secretary of the General Agricultural Workers Union. We're grateful for your time, sir.
Thank you.
Let's get on to